6 people reveal their best excuses for calling in sick. It's almost Christmas, there's a lot of nights out planned, some brilliant television shows to catch up on, and sometimes it's just too cold to get out of bed. So you may be tempted to take a cheeky day off to catch up on sleep, finish that box set, or get through a few chapters of a new book. Not that I would ever dream of doing that or even condone it, of course. But some people have and have used some brilliant excuses to pull a sickie. Some worked while others, not so much. 6 people share their best stories which won them a day or two off work, and the times they were almost caught out. I once took 2 days off sick to read a new book. I called and said I had a migraine and hadn't slept. I do actually get them every now and then, so it was plausible and didn't require a doctor's note. It was a Terry Pratchett book. He's one of my favorite authors and his writing inspired me to write my own books. I later quit that job as it made me miserable and launched a copywriting business and became a published author, so I think it was worth it. But I was sensible and set up a savings account before quitting later. I had a part-time job in a shop, which obviously meant having to work weekends. I'd been out all night on Friday and was way too hungover to make it into town for work, so I decided to call in sick. However, instead of choosing something normal and believable like having a cold or a headache, for some reason I told my boss I'd fallen down the stairs and hurt my back. Anyway, my sister was dating my boss's brother and he was in the hall as I came downstairs. I began telling him how I'd hurt myself falling downstairs and, yep, lost my footing and slipped down the stairs, whacking myself on the banister for good measure. It really bloody hurt and I really was in pain for the rest of the day. Karma, I guess. So I didn't exactly lie, the timeline was just different. It is a bit of a dramatic one but fully true. In early 2015, I was badly bitten in the lip by my lovely beagle. It was an accident, not an aggression. I was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance and around 18 hours after the initial bite, I received reconstructive plastic surgery to fix my lip. The scar is now healed and is barely visible, thanks to the work of the fantastic surgeon. Either way, at the time I was working at Waterstones and was due to go in for a shift the morning of the accident. The accident happened on a Saturday night, around 3 or 4 a.m. My ex-boyfriend, who I was living with at the time, had to call in sick on my behalf, as I was not well, unable to speak and in a bit of a state. The entire team were very sweet about the situation. As you can imagine, I had a bit of a nasty red scar after the surgery, which has now faded, but I was in a customer-facing role and my manager was very understanding of the fact that I wanted to take some time off. Coincidentally, I was also working for a PR firm on weekdays, another manager whom I had to call that day. She was equally as kind, but I was back in the office on Tuesday and hosting an event for press with a busted lip that looked like a mixture between a bad accident and herpes gone wrong. When I was working at a pub restaurant I pulled a sickie so I could go to the cinema. We get in and the adverts are already playing. There was only one set of 2 seats together left, and sitting next to them were my assistant manager and his wife. I said hi, then had to keep doing a little cough throughout the film. He didn't actually know I had phoned in sick that night, but the next day he came up to me going, "So, you were ill yesterday, were you?" He wasn't too angry about it and kept it to himself, thankfully. Not quite strictly a sickie situation, but I knew someone who made up a child to get time off work. He used excuses like, he had to suddenly leave work because Penelope had been sick at school, he had to leave early for parents' evenings, he was late as he had to drop her to swimming lessons. He was never caught out and felt no guilt about the fact there was no child. The audacity. He had photos taken with a friend's child and claimed it was his own. His story was that he was a single parent and swindled so much time off, but nobody checked. I don't know if he still works at the same place, as I've lost touch with him, so I don't know if he was ever caught out. A few years ago, my boyfriend and I decided that, instead of going to work, we wanted to go shopping. We both called in, feigned illness and hopped on the train to Manchester. While we were in HMV, A local news crew arrived as Katie Price was in the store for a book launch. We had to hide behind the shelves while the crew was there so we weren't spotted and caught red-handed. More, 20 things that will be instantly recognizable if you had a baby in the OOS. More, children's imaginary friends are in trouble and here's how you can help.